Hello, my name is Nikolai Kolovich. I use they and he pronouns. I identify as agender, which means that I neither feel compelled to identify as a woman nor as a man, especially not as a woman, which is why I often call myself transmasculine in queer and cis spaces, but that's not the case for a lot of trans men. In fact, you're going to hear from a couple of them today talking about their experience, their definitions of masculinity, and how it has changed since their transition. So without further ado, let's keep it rolling.
Hi, my name is Max Van. I go by he, his pronouns, and I identify as a transgender man.
Hi, my name is Dylan Gabriel, and I identify as transmasc, and my pronouns are he, him.
Hi, my name is Coda. I'm a trans man, and I use he, him pronouns.
My name is Essence. I use he, him pronouns, and I identify as a trans man.
I go by Ellie to some and Eli to others. I identify as transmasculine, and my pronouns are he, they, and she sometimes for ease. My relationship to masculinity is in how I approach gentleness.
Masculinity is courage. Masculinity is the strength to exist in your own world as you live it.
Traditional gender roles of chivalry and respect are things that I prioritize and hold.
For a really long time, it meant proving myself to the world that I was a man, that everything about me was very masculine, that I wasn't feminine whatsoever, whatever feminine actually means.
All I know and all the context that I have is from watching YouTube videos of other trans folks or other people who were lesbians, but then change came out as transgender. So then, like, what does that mean for them and all that other stuff? That's mainly the context that I know, and mainly the context that they talk about is embodying a physical vessel. So for me, that was an early, in that 17, 18-year-olds, that's what I was thinking masculinity is, right? The physicality part of it. Facial hair, voice dropping, broader shoulders, fat distribution, whatever.
I grew up watching a lot of old westerns, The Rifleman with Chuck Connor, classic Superman movies, Clark Kent, and growing up in an Afro-Caribbean household, masculinity and toxic masculinity was something that was this amorphous, weird thing that just kind of loomed over everyone.
I was kind of taught to be afraid of this idea of a man. And I think that when I confronted the more alpha, strength, stronger parts of myself, I would shy away from that because, and also I was told to by the male figures in my life that I kind of had to stay in my lane, eat less. I ate too much for a girl, and and that a man is supposed to provide. That's a very big thing, especially like in Caribbean culture.
I feel like I've tried to describe this in my poetry before, but no words could describe the reason why my masculine energy and expression is comfortable for me. All I know in my being is that I've always been an equally masculine and feminine person.
Do I describe myself as masculine? Yes and no. I like masculine activities. I like looking masculine, obviously. But like, I would also say that I'm a very feminine person.
I guess I identify as transmasculine, but in terms of like stereotypical man mask presenting people, I lean a bit on the feminine side, and by a bit I mean a lot, and I'm okay with that.
You build your own vessel so that you allow yourself room and comfort in order to move on to the next part.
I identified as non-binary for a few years, going back and forth between they, them, they, he, and even Zer pronouns, because I was truly trying to figure out what my identity meant to me and how I could both be masculine and feminine.
I think passing more has given me deeper and greater joy and access to my femininity and expressing that, how I dress, in wearing makeup, and how I talk, how I walk.
I believe that everyone has masculinity and femininity in them. I have a lot of my feminine side from growing up as someone who's perceived as feminine and growing up as a woman. Fuck it, I'll say it.
Realizing that masculinity is just an adjective and it's not such a confining thing.
I think my definition of masculinity has definitely changed and expanded with the other trans people that I've met. Seeing how different people express themselves and how they take comfort in themselves and find community has been a really eye-opening experience, and it just makes me realize how beautiful nonconformity is.
But as we know, there is a lot of misogyny in the trans community. So I was afraid that in order to be a trans man, I had to be very by the book, a very masculine trans man to be valid in my identity.
I don't think I ever quite understood the softness of masculinity until I started experiencing it myself.
Now, I'm on testosterone and have top surgery, and I feel more confident than I have basically ever. I finally feel at home in my own body.
I love laughing. And it's not that I hated laughing before, it's just now my laugh has a sense of confidence in it. Trust me, I don't walk into a room full of cis men and see them laughing their asses off the way that I do about just like little things. And I think that allows me to have a good time and allows the room to have a good time, because we're only here for so long. So let's just have a blast and see what happens.
And to go on to another question in this interview about my relationship to anger, I'm very anger averse, deeply anger averse. I grew up with a very prominent male figure in my life who had a very unhealthy relationship to anger, and that being in the splash zone of that growing up, if anything, it made me feel more averse to manhood.
So anger is a tricky thing for me, being a Black man, and being characterized in life as a Black woman, because anger can mean danger for us. If we exhibit our anger to the wrong person, that could mean our lives.
Feeling anger and expressing that outwardly is very delicate as a Black man. I remember when I first came out and I was talking to my sister, she asked me in 2020 how I felt transitioning and being in a society where Black men are actively being like persecuted and killed, and it's just a really weird social and political landscape for us to navigate in terms of anger.
And I think through my transness, I've been able to be a lot more open about anger being a tool of resistance. There's a lot of things in this world to be angry about, especially living life as a trans person and having to hold the weight of that. And I think being able to express that anger is important.
And to the people who think that people like me compromise traditional views of masculinity and manhood, I think y'all are really insecure and need to seek help.
It's a big fuck you, okay?
Why does me being happy and expressing myself and being who I am make you feel less of who you are? Maybe you should think about that. The TV might be glowing. Let's talk.
Trans men are beautiful, and we totally deserve to take up space.
A lot of things in life should be somewhat malleable, should be somewhat fluid and ever-changing, because last time I checked, I didn't look like this 3 months ago. I didn't feel the way I feel 3 months ago. I'm ever-changing, and I bet whoever's watching this is also ever-changing. But why do we define things so concretely when we ourselves are changing the meaning of it every day?
If someone does dead name me, if someone does call me by the wrong pronouns, they look insane. And I can just kind of give them a more quizzical look than an offended one.
All I have to say is, if you cis man, are threatened by our existence, then maybe you should have a little talk with yourself in the closet, because I have something to tell you, motherfucker. I love you, Nico. Thank you for having me be a part of this.
I'm here for the trans man revolution, and I am proud to be a trans man. I'm very proud to be here in this moment. This is Nico's shirt, but trans joy's resistance.
Masculinity is such a strange social construct, and we all play into it in different ways. It's not inherently good or bad, it just is. And I think the gift in exploring gender is seeing what presents traditionally and just completely breaking it and collapsing it in on itself and finding what it means to you.